The cold, sharp steel of Theo's blade hung in the air, a macabre pendulum dripping crimson onto the pristine snow. Below it, Axion lay sprawled, his lifeless eyes staring blankly at the unforgiving sky. A chilling silence descended upon the battlefield, broken only by the ragged breaths of the surviving combatants. Liam's subordinates, their faces a mixture of shock and horror, stammered, "Why, young Master Axion?" Liam, despite his grievous wounds, struggled to rise, his gaze fixed on Axion's fallen form. "Kill," he rasped, his voice a ragged whisper. "Kill him! Kill that bastard!" His command. Theo, his white coat stained crimson with blood, stood amidst them, his sword lowered but still dripping with the evidence of his victory. The faces of Liam's subordinates, barely visible beneath their dark hoods, displayed their inner turmoil. Theo, though weary and wounded, held his ground. His gaze, unwavering and sharp, swept over the remaining members of the Central Intelligence Bureau. "I'm in trouble," he thought, assessing the situation. "It's a gamble from here on. Even if I was in a good condition, it's impossible for me to go against 4 senior proctors. It's even more hopeless with my current state. My stamina is at its limit, and my mana almost ran out from the attack earlier." He tightened his grip on his sword, his mind racing. Soon, he thought, a flicker of anticipation amidst the exhaustion. Isn't it almost time for him to appear? He tightened his grip on his sword, his mind racing. 2 cloaked figures approaching Theo, their swords unsheathed. Soon, he thought, a flicker of anticipation amidst the exhaustion. Isn't it almost time for him to appear? Suddenly, a blur of motion broke the tense standoff. Figures clad in dark cloaks moved with blinding speed, their swords flashing in the pale light. A surprised grunt, followed by the sickening thud of a body hitting the ground, shattered the silence. Before anyone could react, more figures joined the fray, their movements swift and precise. Remington, Halkus, and Erica, their faces grim with determination, emerged from the chaos, their swords meeting the attackers in a whirlwind of steel. That was not what Theo waiting for. "W1, and you guys?" Theo shouted, his voice filled with a mix of surprise and relief. "How did you guys?" Theo gasped, his eyes widening in astonishment. Remington, his silver hair gleaming in the fading light, offered a wry smile. "Isn't it natural that we should save a comrade in trouble, young Master Theo?" he said, his voice calm despite the surrounding chaos. Theo, momentarily speechless, could only stare at his unexpected saviors. Erica astonished. "Theo, you look better in person." "Damn it, Theo. It's my first time meeting someone as strong as you." "I like you already," Halkus exclaims, grinning widely. Sybil, his face bruised but his spirit undeterred, joined the fight. "We sincerely want to assist young Master Theo," he declared, his voice ringing with unwavering loyalty. "We can't just run away after causing trouble." Despite the intervention of the supervisors being strictly forbidden, they had chosen to stand with Theo. "The intervention of the supervisors is strictly forbidden," Remington shouted. "You do know that directly being involved with a candidate is a serious offense, right?" The question, laced with a hint of irony, hung in the air. The tide of the battle had shifted. The remaining members of the Central Intelligence Bureau, overwhelmed and outmatched, found themselves on the defensive. Liam, his face contorted in pain and frustration, could only watch as his carefully laid plans unraveled before his eyes. "Sir Liam, what should we do?" one of his subordinates asked, his voice trembling with fear. "Things have gotten too big. Should we get rid of all these guys too?" Liam, that their carefully laid plans had spiraled out of control. "Please give us your decision," a supervisor pleaded, his voice urgent, his eyes fixed on Liam. Defeated and desperate, could only mutter, "We're doomed." He knew that their mission had failed. "We couldn't find out anything about Rose Palace's artifacts. We also couldn't get rid of Theo. Even Sir Axion died. We're also already caught doing such a thing," he thought, his mind reeling. "We're also already caught doing such a thing," Liam realized, a sense of dread washing over him as he acknowledged the precariousness of their position. "There's no way," Liam began, But then a sinister smile crept across his face. "Make it up," he declared, his eyes gleaming with a newfound resolve. "Sir Liam, there's no time," a subordinate urged, but Liam ignored him. "Then the best way is—" He paused, his smile widening. "Kill everyone." He looked around, his gaze settling on the carnage. "What?" An internal outbreak occurred which led to the extermination of all examinees on site, he declared, his voice dripping with a chilling calmness. "That's the best way. Disguising this as an accident will erase the traces of Troivan's involvement." He took out several dark orbs, fifth-grade monsters. "That's enough to disguise this as an accident. Understand?" He looked at his men, his eyes demanding obedience. One of them hesitantly agreed, "Yes, sir," as Liam prepared to unleash the monsters. A voice cut through the tense atmosphere. As Liam prepared to unleash the monsters, a voice cut through the tense atmosphere. A choked gasp escaped Liam's lips as he was struck. "What is going on here?" The three supervisors of the White Dragon clan, Plum Blossom Palace, and Daffodil Palace had arrived, their faces etched with concern and suspicion. Their presence brought a momentary pause to the chaos, their gazes sweeping over the scene of devastation. The supervisors from the White Dragon clan and the Daffodil Palace, Cephlord Gardner and Sally Gardner, both asked, "What is going on here?" The Plum Blossom Palace supervisor, Natasha Koppel. A flicker of fear crossed Liam's face as he realized the extent of the devastation, the unexpected arrival of the other supervisors. Notice the fallen form of Liam. "As Sir Liam!" exclaimed, rushing to his side. The other supervisors, their faces grim, moved to intercept the remaining members of the Central Intelligence Bureau. "You three over there, stop," one of them commanded, his voice firm and authoritative. "Follow us if you want to save your life." He added, "If you want to be like Liam, then come to us." A tense standoff ensued, the air thick with unspoken threats. Amidst the chaos, Theo stood silently, his gaze fixed on the unfolding events. He had survived against all odds, but the cost had been high. "Supervisors, thank goodness," Theo said, a sign that order might be restored. "You came on time," Remington added, nodding in gratitude, his voice a mixture of relief and appreciation. He looked at Ray, his face etched with concern. "You came on time," Theo said, his voice filled with gratitude. "Thank you." Ray looked up, a faint smile gracing his lips. "Theo, that was reckless," she said, her voice soft but firm. "Why would you?" Theo simply stared back, his silence speaking volumes. The desolate, snow-covered landscape, under the weak light, bore witness to the brutal confrontation that had taken place. As the dust settled, the survivors gathered around Theo, Remington. Halkus and Ericus stood beside him, their faces a mixture of relief and exhaustion. Sybil and the other members of Training Ground Number 4, their eyes filled with tears of gratitude, cried out, "Young Master Theo, you did all this for us. We won't have any regrets even if we die." Theo looked at them, his heart heavy with the weight of their sacrifice. He noticed Ray, her face pale but her spirit unbroken. "Theo," she whispered, her voice filled with a mixture of relief and admiration. "This is Theo Whispers. Hey, the strength I am after." "Theo," she whispered, her voice filled with a mixture of relief and admiration. "All right, give me the bell," she said, extending his hand. "I'll get first place." Ray smiled faintly, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. The stark, silhouetted landscape, under the weak light of the moon, served as a somber backdrop to the unfolding drama. In the aftermath of the battle, the scene shifted to the headquarters of the Central Intelligence Bureau. Ed Trovian, his face etched with a mixture of shock and disbelief, listened to the report from one of his subordinates. "Axion," he murmured, his voice barely a whisper. The news of Axion's death had shaken him to his core. The other council members, Wolfgang, Osa, and Julius, could only stare in stunned silence. Died. The carefully laid plans, the years of scheming and manipulation, had all come to naught.